السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. طلابي الأعزاء، طلاب الفرقة الأولى بالمجمع التكنولوجي المتكامل بالأميرية، أهلا وسهلا بحضراتكم. معكم مرة أخرى دكتور بدر عبد الفتاح ومحاضرة خاصة بمادة التكنيكال English. Today, inshallah, we're going to deal with technical reading as well, lesson number 5. And the title of lesson number 5 is 3D printer homes to reduce homelessness. I have some questions before we start reading the article, today's article, and then of course, as usual, we'll move to addressing some questions about the reading comprehension passage. Let's start. So you have a picture now in front of you, and my question is, what can you see in this picture? Okay, you can take like a couple of seconds to think of the picture. Okay, so yeah, it's so somehow related to the title of the lesson, which is about the 3D home printing. You can see that this is a kind of a 3D home printing, and this is the main topic, as I told you, about today's session. I have a question. We are talking about 3D, yeah, 3D printing. So my question now is, what does 3D stand for? 3D as an acronym, as like an abbreviation. What does 3D stand for? 3D stands for, yes, it stands for three-dimensional. So 3D means three-dimensional, and that's the main topic of today's session. We have here the key vocab of the lesson. We have some vocab that we are going to encounter in the article. The first one here is adequate. One more time, we pronounce it adequate. And the second one is revolutionary, revolutionary. Third one is construct, construct. Then reinforce, reinforce. Next one is homelessness, homelessness. Next, cement, cement. Next one is teamed up, teamed up. Venture, venture. And the last one is slum, slum. Of course, these are the main vocab of today's reading comprehension passage, and we need to explain the meaning of each one of them. Just in advance, before we read the article, this time I'm going to explain the meaning of each word, each new word. First one is adequate. It means like proper, like suitable, okay, like appropriate. So adequate, one more time, it means like proper, like suitable, like appropriate. And then we have the next one, which is revolutionary. Revolutionary, it comes from the verb revolt, which means to uprise, against. So revolt, revolutionary, this is the adjective. It's like uprising, it's like advancing. It is something that is non-traditional. And then we have the verb construct. In construct, it means build, to build. And the noun from the verb construct is construction. So we have construction. Reinforce, which means to enhance, to improve, to strengthen. That's reinforce. And homelessness, I'm sure that you know the meaning of the word homelessness. It comes from home, okay, which is the place where we stay in, where we live. And then we have the adjective by adding less, homeless. Without a home, we call a person who doesn't have a home, we call him or her homeless. And the noun is homelessness. One more time we say it, homelessness. And then we have cement. Cement. Cement is a kind of a material or a substance that builders use when they construct buildings. We say it in Arabic as cement, cement. And then we have teamed up. Teamed up, it means to work together, to cooperate together, to collaborate together, teamed up. And then we have venture. And venture is like the word project. You know the word project or enterprise. So we have venture as well. Venture, enterprise, or project. They have the same meaning. And then the last word here is slum. Slum means very, very poor. And we describe the word slum. We may use it with cities or neighborhood by saying that this is a slum city or a slum town or a slum neighborhood, which means very, very poor. So these are the key vocab of today's article on 3D home printing. And I'd like to move now to the article itself, explaining the article in details, and then at the end we'll address the questions. Let's move on. So we have the article here. As usual, I start with reading the article. Having a roof over your head is a basic human need, but there are 1.2 billion people in the world without adequate housing. This may change thanks to revolutionary low-cost use of 3D printers to construct houses. With 3D printing, materials are joined together or reinforced by using a computer-controlled device to create a three-dimensional object. Two companies have joined forces to try and ease homelessness around the world by building affordable homes using 3D printing. Tech company ICON has developed a method for printing a one-floor 60 square meter house out of cement in a day for just $10,000. This is a fraction of both the time and cost needed to build a similar construction using conventional methods. ده الباراجراف number 1, and I need to explain some information in this paragraph. محتاج ان احنا نوضح بعض المعلومات عن ال 3D printing according to the first paragraph. So of course we started with talking about a human need, حاجة إنسانية. This is like a kind of a basic need. A human need or a basic human need is to have a house, to have a home, okay? And according to the numbers mentioned in the first paragraph, we have around 1.2 billion people in the world without having adequate, appropriate, without having suitable housing. So that's a big number, actually. That's a big number, okay? And of course, because we have a new technology nowadays, the new technology is the 3D printers, which are used to build houses. So we can put materials together, okay, in order to build a house using a computer-controlled device to create what we call a 3D or a three-dimensional object. So that's the main idea of the first paragraph. And other information, في معلومات تانية, like the companies, two companies which are responsible for this project. Two companies, they worked together, they teamed up together, okay, in order to build, to construct, like not expensive houses. They are cheap houses. You can get one if you are one of those persons who are very, very poor. You can get a house, okay, using 3D printing. And now we have other information about the size of the house. It's mentioned here in the first paragraph that the size is 60 square meter house out of a cement. It's built with cement in just one day. You can imagine, in just one day. And the cost, the total cost of the house is 10,000. So you can of course say that 10,000 is too much, but it's not too much if you compare it with the actual cost of other buildings. That's why we say that this is a kind of fraction of both the time and the cost, and you can build it in just one day. So these are the main ideas of the first paragraph. Now we move on to the next paragraph. So we're still talking about the same topic. Second paragraph, I'm gonna read it. ICON has teamed up with the non-profit International Housing Organization New Story. So New Story is a kind of non-profit، يعني لا تستهدف الربح، لا تهدف إلى الربح. International Housing Organization، منظمة أو مؤسسة متعلقة بالإسكان، دي دولية لكن لا تستهدف تحقيق ربح مما تقوم به. It's called New Story. Together they will, so together, I mean by together here is ICON and the New Story company or organization, which is non-profit international housing organization. Together they will start building homes in developing countries. So together they are teamed up now, and together they will start constructing, building homes, not in all countries. They start with developing countries. So their joint venture, and by venture here we mean project, as I explained it before. Project مشروع, their joint project مشروعهم المشترك joint will see 100 new homes constructed in Salvador next year. هنشوف حوالي 100 منزل هيبنى في Salvador next year. New Story's co-founder, the co-founder, one of the founders of the organization, which is called New Story, Alexandria Lovesey, acknowledged it. He admitted that the 100 homes, he said, acknowledge means said, admitted, okay, that the 100 homes were just a drop in the ocean. Drop in the ocean, that's an idiom in the English language. لما بقول drop in the ocean أو in the ocean، ده معناه إيه؟ معناه كأنها نقطة، زي ما احنا بنقول هي نقطة في محيط، أو زي ما احنا بنقولها كده بالعربي نقطة بحر، which mean that the number, which is 100 homes, is very, it's like not too many. It's very few number of homes that should be constructed for poor people, but as he mentioned, it's like a drop in the ocean، كأنها نقطة بحر أو نقطة في محيط. She said، قالت الكو-فاوندر دي، المؤسسة دي، one of the founders، واحدة من المؤسسين، there are over 100 million people living in slum conditions. There are, one more time, there are over 100 million people living in slum conditions. Slum conditions, very poor conditions, very poor places. One more time, there are over 100 million people living in slum conditions, in what we call survival mode. Survival mode, that's another idiom in the English language. Survival mode. معنى كلمة survival mode معناها كأن وضع mode، معناها وضع طبعا، وضع البقاء على قيد الحياة. So they are just surviving، مجرد ان هم يعني بيعيشوا للبقاء على قيد الحياة without any other like welfare or prosperity or anything else to do, just to survive, which is to stay alive with the minimum features and minimum requirements of life. So that's the meaning of survival mode. She also saw possibilities for 3D printed houses to become common in richer countries in years to come. So she's talking now, the co-founder of the organization New Story. She's talking about doing the same project, constructing houses with 3D technology, printing technology in also developed countries, in rich countries. However, she said that for the moment, the technology is ready, is set now to print very high quality safe homes in the places we're building. So they are thinking of spreading this technology, the 3D printing technology for homes in the developed countries, in the rich countries. But for now, they are just working with the slum places, poor countries, developing countries. دي المقالة بشكل تفصيلي. هنروح دلوقتي للquestions الخاصة بهذه المقالة. So we have true false questions. Question number 1. The article says 1.2 billion people have no proper place to live. Proper means adequate, appropriate, suitable. Is it true or false? True. Second one. The article says 3D printing is very expensive. Is that true or false? That's false. According to the article, 3D printing is not expensive. It's affordable. You can afford it. You can get one. It's just 10,000 and you can get like a home for you. 3. Or letter C. 3 companies have united to make homes for the homeless. The answer is false, because it's only 2 companies. D. A company can make a home for 10,000 in just 24 hours. The answer is true, because yes, they can make a home for 10,000 in one day. Number 5, or letter F, or letter E. A new project will build 1,000 homes in Salvador next year. That's false. The number is false. Letter F. A non-profit co-founder wants to build homes on the ocean. That's false. He mentioned that it's like a drop in the ocean. G. 100 million people worldwide live in slum conditions. 100 million, which is letter G. That's true. Last one. People in rich countries may live in 3D printed homes in the future. True. Because in the article, they talked about that. They talked about the possibility of, constructing or building 3D printed homes in the future in rich countries. Let's move on to the synonym match questions. We have a synonym match questions. We have some words from the article like basic, adequate, reinforced, affordable, fraction, teamed up, venture, acknowledged, common, and ready. And we have some words on the left, on the right, and your task is to match the word with its meaning. So let's do it. Let's do them together. First one, basic. What does it mean, basic? Okay, is it collaborated, inexpensive, set, sufficient, enterprise, admitted, fundamental, prevalent, strengthened, tiny amount? So the meaning of the word basic is, that's letter G, fundamental. So basic means fundamental. And then we have number 2, which is adequate. What does it mean, adequate? It's letter G. I'm just trying to give you like a second to think of the answer. So it's letter D, sufficient. Adequate here means sufficient, means proper, means appropriate, means suitable. So sufficient. Number 2 is D. Number 3, reinforced. Reinforced. So what's the meaning of the word reinforced? Yes, it's letter I, strengthened, strengthened. Affordable. Number 4, which is affordable. What does it mean affordable? You can afford it. It's letter B, inexpensive. So affordable means inexpensive. Number 5, fraction. Fraction. Number 5, fraction. What does it mean, fraction? This is, yes, huh? J, correct. J, which is tiny amount, very small amount of money, fraction. Teamed up, which is number 6, teamed up, collaborated. Teamed up means collaborated. Venture. So what's venture? Venture is letter E, enterprise or project. E, enterprise or project. Then we have number 8, acknowledged. Acknowledged. What does it mean, the word acknowledged? It's letter F, admitted. يعترف, admitted. And then we have number 9, which is common. So what's common here? That's letter H, prevalent. شائع, common or prevalent أو سائد. And the last one is ready. What's ready? The last one is ready. That's of course letter C, which means sat. Which means what? Which means sat. So this is the end of today's session. أتمنى إن احنا نكون استفدنا من المعلومات اللي احنا قدمناها هنا في السيشن ده، على أمل إن شاء الله بإذن الله إن احنا نكمل مع بعض ما تبقى من المحاضرات في الأسبوع القادم. شكرا جزيلا والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.